Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I invite Oscar now to share a little bit more about the interpretation. And if we could move forward with the slides, please. So if you would like to listen to this in Spanish, please look at the bottom of your screen. There should be an icon that's a circle, and you can click on that and choose Spanish interpretation if you'd like. We have live interpretation in Spanish for this event today. Thank you.
to be human. It's cold here. A veil of mist cloaking my shaking shoulders, the rain clatters against the window pane because it's cold here. Here where the walls have thorns sharper than thought, a cavern of sleepless dark, and I want not to be shivering alone, to be here. I want not to hurt, to ache and bleed from my eyes, a silvery ichor. I want not to see those blurs, memories, a dagger upturned. Most of all, I want not the knowing, the plunging down the pit of palpability, that they're right, that they're true, that I'm broken, cracked and splintered like pieces of glass in a polished shoe. But look at my hands. Look how they dance, look how they glide and guide like fireflies at night. And there's a fire flying through my chest, into my fingers, through my pen, into my page, because there it is. I'm chasing this light, this lantern in the sky. Sunday afternoons, see Congo squares, see how we sang, swung with the calls, even for a second, do-si-do's, a Sunday sermon, hands to hand, a psalm, a hymn, ringing, bellowing, a call, because don't you know that black hands braided the square dance? From rhythms to balls, running from the rod, go down Moses to Canaan we sang, our voices trilling, a code to escape, stitched to the wind like thread through a quilt, flapping a flag, not fleeing but flying, not lurching but living. For to be human is to love despite the living. And here the light flickers as my fingers scurry along the page. Here the light trembles in detention barracks, walls colder than goodbyes, Angel Island, the Ellis if she'd cried. Here the light shakes where windows blind, where poles snatch the ceiling and paint recoils from wood. But here our poetry ablaze, carved into make wall. America the beautiful, the sparks of our fingers etching a dance until the walls crumbled. And yes, the light shines brighter, and why do I follow? It's the twirl at my tongue, the waltz at my hands, the beats at my heart mountain twinkling like tears, the way they fell, like kites kissing the clouds, but we played and played behind barbed wire, and we swung and skipped by candlelight lilting. Instructions to all persons of Japanese, but we danced and danced, hand in hand throughout the camp. And now watch how the lantern spins to today and tomorrow, the way we carried our sorrow to the streets and paraded, shivering from fear, the dread of dying or worse, complying, but we marched. Dragons swaying along the crowd, the year of the rabbit bouncing uncowed. And I'm crying now because this is human, this is loving, this is pride, this is constellations alive. And it's cold here like ice and biting snow, but the poem, the dance, the lantern in the sky, I remember my people, my siblings aflame, my pen catches our light. And for a second in this cosmo of time, stars are another word for music at night.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for taking time out to spend with YCS as we collectively engage in a creative, inspiring evening with our guest speakers, Tunde and Sam, the co-authors of Creative Hustle. We just heard Lauren Lynn present her spoken word piece, To Be Human. We are grateful for all the youth contributors for this evening. A huge thank you to our event sponsors listed on the screen and to our team of Spanish interpreters for today's event. Thank you to the YCS board and staff for all your hard work every day to make YCS the best we can be. And to the youth in our program who are shaping a world with a better future for all. We now have a few words from our presenting sponsor, Stanford Medicine Children's Health.
Welcome to Stanford Medicine Children's Health, a healthcare network dedicated to kids.
And people expecting kids, like my mom.
That's right. We're Northern California's largest pediatric and obstetric healthcare network.
And don't forget to tell them it's a part of Stanford Medicine.
Yes, I was just going to say that. It's part of Stanford Medicine, one of the nation's leading academic healthcare systems.
The whole network is designed around caring for kids because they know that we're growing and developing all the time, and our brains and our bodies are always changing.
We're not just mini adults. We're different. Obviously.
And that's why we have pediatric experts, technology, and programs designed just for kids. At the center of it all is Lucille Packard Children's Hospital, Stanford, one of the best children's hospitals in the world, and home to some of the best pediatric specialty programs in the country, including our heart, cancer, pregnancy and newborn, transplant, and brain and behavior centers.
I have a brain. It's huge.
Oh, I can tell. We also have clinics conveniently located all over the Bay Area. So whether you need to see a pediatrician for a wellness check, or a specialist for orthopedics, pulmonology, nephrology, or other critical specialty care, you can find a provider close to home.
And don't forget virtual visits.
That's right. Now you can see a doctor in your pajamas. At Stanford, many of the doctors and specialists caring for patients are the same people doing scientific research in our labs and setting global standards for treatments and procedures.
We have a lab.
You do?
Yeah. We also have a poodle.
That's a different kind of lab. But lucky you. Stanford doctors, surgeons, and nurses also bring their expertise to neonatal and pediatric intensive care units at other leading hospitals across California. Did I forget anything?
Nope, I think you nailed it.
Then let's carry on. Between our hospital, clinics, and outreach, Stanford Medicine Children's Health is the backbone of pediatric and obstetric care in the Bay Area. Here to make sure that for everything from the routine to the rare, everyone in the Bay Area,
Like me.
And me. And me. And us.
has access to world-class care every single day. Stanford Medicine Children's Health. Access to excellence.
Thank you. Now I am thrilled to welcome back Sarai Espinoza Salamanca, who is chapter 7, named Receive Better So You Can Give Better in Creative Hustle, and was our featured speaker at the YCS event in 2021. Since we last met Sarai, she has continued to make an impact in our community through Dreamers Roadmap and her multiple other initiatives that include being the Senior Program and Strategy Advisor at Sobrato Foundation. Sarai is also currently a student at Santa Clara University, where she will be majoring in ethnic studies and sociology. We are also grateful for when Sarai joined our team at YCS and led the Learn Commission, which stands for Leading Engagement for Anti-Racism Now. Her work was alongside 15 local BIPOC youth and their allies who worked on a year-long project to recommend new policy changes that would address and move towards a more welcoming environment for BIPOC in Mid-Peninsula schools. Welcome, Sarai, and thank you for kicking off our event tonight.
Thank you very much, Maura, and hello, everyone. It's so great to be here and be back with everyone. As Maura mentioned, I had the privilege to be working for YCS a couple of years back, working with phenomenal youth in our area. So thank you for inviting me, and what a special event. The folks that we're going to be listening to later tonight are dear friends now also, and authors of this phenomenal book called Creative Hustle. I was honored to be featured in this book, and I mean, if you missed our launch, you're going to hear about it today, but it's a phenomenal book that I feel shares the stories of people in our community who oftentimes stories go untold or unseen. So I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank Sam and want to thank Tunde for championing that and being the leaders in this field and really choosing people and voices that exemplify what people in our community are doing, and not only what they're doing, but how they're doing it. I think it's a beautiful book that really expresses phenomenal people in our area who are doing great work. And I really hope that you'll have the opportunity to read through it. And thank you everybody for being here tonight. support YCS as you can tonight. No amount is too small. And just as a reminder for folks who are just joining, if you needed a translation for this, there's a globe at the bottom that you can touch to get your translation in Spanish. Buenas noches, yo me llamo Saraí, soy fundadora de Dreamers Roadmap, soy estudiante de Santa Clara University y soy una de las personas que están en el libro, en capítulo 7, que escribió Tunde y Sam. Estoy muy agradecida por la oportunidad que me dieron de ser parte de este proyecto tan lindo, donde es un proyecto donde ellos se enfocan en las voces y en las historias de personas que usualmente no tienen voz en este aspecto de literatura. Entonces, para mí es un honor poder ser una pequeña parte de este proyecto y muchísimas gracias a ellos por pensar en mí y espero que todos puedan comprar su libro para que puedan leer las historias con sus familias, con sus niños, para que se inspiren en lo que también pueden hacer ustedes. So a little bit of what I said there for the folks in my Spanish speaking community was that hopefully when you purchase this book or you can have access to renting it or however you can get to it, I hope that the book inspires you to be able to believe in yourself, to do the changes that you want to see in this world. I think oftentimes, especially our young people of color, struggle to try to find role models that look like them. And I feel like this book does that. It's a blueprint, it's a handbook, it's a toolkit for our young people to see people that look like them doing phenomenal work around this area. And just thank you to Sam and Tunde for choosing this topic, for choosing these leaders and choosing this particular intention for your book. And what an honor to be in it and to know y'all. And I hope you'll have a phenomenal evening and rest of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Sari. It's so nice to have you here tonight. And a warm welcome to everyone else that's here. It's so nice to see you. My name is Barbara Sprang, and I've had the pleasure of being involved with youth community service since, well, forever. While it's in its formative phase, I was introduced to the concept of service learning, a means for youth to apply their classroom learning toward addressing community needs through service, gaining new knowledge, insights, and real-world experience. I became an instant fan and have never looked back. Over the years, YCS has grown by remaining true to its mission while adapting to ever-changing needs. Young people who engage in community service develop many truly important life skills, such as empathy, compassion, the value of human connection, leadership development, and perhaps most importantly, a sense of their own self-worth. I find these many benefits and more for youth and our communities irresistible to support. So with that, I'm happily offering tonight a $5,000 matching gift. Every contribution that is made through tonight's event will be doubled up to $5,000. Will you help us get to our $10,000 goal? I hope so. I'm certain you'll feel the same warm satisfaction I do, knowing your support will help today's YCS students create a brighter future for us all. Thank you for your consideration and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for your incredible gift to YCS this evening and for always being there as a guide and a mentor to YCS over our 33 years of engaging youth in service learning. With the generous support of our donors, YCS engages over 10,000 youth and their families every year in making a difference in our community. We are grateful for all your financial gifts, especially tonight, that help us elevate youth voices to raise community connection and equity through service. It gives me great joy now to introduce our guests for the evening. Tunde and Sam are the co-authors of Creative Hustle, Blaze Your Path and Make Work That Matters, through which they share their knowledge about the intersection of race, culture, education, and careers. Olatunde Sobomehin is the CEO and co-founder of Street Code Academy, a Silicon Valley-based nonprofit that offers free tech classes to communities of color. It is one of the fastest growing organizations in the region and now serves over 3,000 students annually with over 50,000 hours of free instruction. As a student at Stanford, Tunde also led a public speaking class in the engineering department and played on the top 25 men's basketball team, where he was voted most inspirational player. His body of work has earned him recognition as a 2018 Aspen Institute Scholar, a 2019 Praxis Fellow, and a 2020 Social Entrepreneurship Fellow at Stanford University. As an entrepreneur, he's the co-founder of S-Space, a youth sports and culture brand, and Trilicon Valley, a lifestyle brand with products in technology, fashion, and branding. As an educator, he has taught classes at Stanford's Haas Center and Stanford d.school. He and his beautiful family reside in East Palo Alto, California. Sam Seidel is the K-12 Lab Director of Strategy and Research at Stanford d.school. The author of Hip Hop Genius, Remixing High School Education, and co-author of Hip Hop Genius 2.0. Could we switch slide? Okay, there. While studying at one of the most elite institutions in the country, Sam taught in one of the most repressive, the maximum security unit of a juvenile prison. He speaks internationally about education, race, culture, systems, and design. Sam's writing appears in 3 anthologies: Startup, New Schools and New Times, Imprisoned Intellectuals, and the New Abolitionists, Prison Writing and the Neo-Slave Narratives, as well as in educational publications such as Education Week, Voice in Urban Education, and Unboxed. He is also on the editorial board of Revolutionizing Urban Education, Hip Hop, Pedagogy, and Communities. Sam graduated from Brown University with a degree in education and a teaching certification. He was a scholar in residence at Columbia University's Institute for Urban and Minority Education and a community fellow at Rhode Island School of Design. Thank you. Take it away, Bob. No, sorry. There you are, Tunde and Sam.
Wow, thank you so much, Maura. Thank you, everyone. This was already an incredible experience. I can't wait to continue to build on it. For the surprise of my brother Sam, whose photos did match. We didn't know which one we were going to get. There is my beautiful brother. And thank you all. We can't see you, but we feel you. And we're going to have about 40 minutes to get through what Sarai already beautifully described, what Sam and I have poured a lot of our heart into. We're not going to rush. And so we're going to do something that we've done every time that we've, or nearly every time that we've gotten together around this topic of creative hustle. YCS combines 3 of the most powerful words that I know, youth, community, and service. And it's in community that I want to remember those who are not here on this call. And we want to, Sam and I always set intentions. And so what I'm going to ask us to do, even as we cram all these chapters into 40 minutes, all of these months and years of work into what now is 38 minutes, we're going to take just one of those to ground ourselves in silence for those that we're bringing to this space. And for me, I won't go into the story of Street Code Academy, but Street Code Academy, as Maura, you were kind to include in the bio, started small. And one of those people that was there at the very start was a gentleman who now is fighting for his life. And so I'm gonna bring him to mind, and I'm gonna ask that you join Sam and I in a moment of silence for you to bring anybody, anyone, any thought to the surface as we dive in to what we've already hinted at, which says let's blaze our own path while we're here in community with each other and make work that matters. So let's take a few seconds in silence. I'll set some intention in my own practice of prayer, and then we'll dive into sharing some slides. What a joy, because even at this moment, as we are in different places and different regions and different homes, we're listening to the same voice, the same presentation, supporting the same organization. We're doing what the mission, what even the name says, we're in community. And we stand in the gap right now. And for those who are not on the call, maybe people who intended to be here, schedules are full. Maybe folks who are here in spirit, maybe folks who are not even here anymore in community with us physically. And there are folks like my brother who, even at this moment, are wrestling with challenge and struggle. And so we just bring even joy and triumph. We bring all that to this moment as we celebrate an incredible organization with people who are committing large portions of their energy and time and resource to try and make our communities, our youth, our neighborhoods, our schools better. And so we are grateful for this opportunity. And I just ask now, as Sam and I have done so many times, that the words that bring forth today at the exercises that we do are all ones that leave us better, that we can meet somebody out of this, that we can gain an idea, that we can write down something, that something can come to our spirit and mind that will leave us better after this, hour and a half event, better than we came in. So it was with that all of us coming from different places, different faiths, different walks, different advantages, different perspectives, different experiences, that we all just agree on this event. And I say amen and thank you all. Thank you all. Sam, is there any, before I share the slide, good to see your face. Is there any intention that you want to bring to the forefront before we start diving in to the content?
Just one. I mean, first of all, thank you all for having us, and Tunde, thanks for starting us there. So important and needed. So I just want to acknowledge that. My only other intention is it's always odd to try to connect across technology like this. We can't see everyone's faces. We have ideas of who's out there and what, maybe what you're working on or thinking about. But I just want to share the intention that we connect even across geography, all types of difference and these technical barriers between us, and hopefully the chat can be a part of that. We really would love to hear everyone's voices and just connect and interact. So we're going to do our best to project ourselves with these tiny little cameras and get to you wherever you are, and please, feed it back to us. But yeah, that's my only other intention. Thank you, Tunde, for starting us off that way.
No, thank you, Sam. And okay, so here we are. As mentioned, today's topic is going to be about this idea called creative hustle, which we'll dive into very shortly. What I want to make sure is sort of an extension of what Sam just mentioned, is in light of us not being able to be in physical community, in light of us not being able to even see one another, even on a Zoom square, that you're active in the chat, that we want to know and feel your presence. We want to make sure that we thank Oscar and his team for the interpretation, that Maura and all the team that kind of made this together. We're just super grateful. We want to shout out Sarai, who's in the book, who is an anchor for the book. As mentioned, what's not included on this Creative Hustle slide is included as a subtitle for the book. It says, blaze your own path and make work that matters. And as I mentioned, there's no one that does that better, blazing a unique path for our time and our age, and also making work that matters. Mama Shashay, I saw in the audience, Poet Laureate of East Palo Alto, National Poetry Month. So we wanted to, there's so many people to thank. Also, Lauren, your words really grounded us. It's the kind of feel And I appreciate, Lauren, for you sharing your thoughts and your words earlier to kick us off. And Barb, I think it's Barbara who's doing the match today. Wanted to make sure we recognize that. I've already given my gift, and I appreciate, Barb, that what I've given is now double for the wonderful work that YCS is doing. So thank you all. We had some incredible, work or kind of testimonies of our bios, and you see our headshots and photos there. But before I turn the slide over to Sam and kind of talk about what Creative Hustle is, I just want to mention that what brought us together, what brought Sam and I together, was that we both, I think what you'll see weaved in between the bios is that we both have a passion for really bridging communities, right? We're bridging all different types of walks. We enjoy that journey. And as Sam has mentioned, a few of his works, he's writing 3 books this year. Creative Hustle is just one of them. Hip Hop Genius is another one. He has another one coming out later this year. But as he's doing that, he's including the voices that Seidel, you were mentioning, right? Voices that come from his work that, were done in the juvenile justice systems and works in communities that don't always have access to the opportunities. And so we'll talk about how that influenced the work that we see at Creative Hustle. But I want to make sure that, both Sam and I understand that there are a lot of different ways to blaze a path, and that we are excited to bring experiences, some of which we've had lived experience, some of which we have not, to the forefront as we talk about Creative Hustle. So I wanted to just kind of highlight that thread within our bios and then pass it off to you, Sam, to talk about a few ideas about Creative Hustle and define that for everyone.
Happy to. Yeah, man, just want to echo so much of what you said, but I know time is of the essence. It's always risky to ask authors of a book to just quickly summarize the topic, because obviously it's something that we've thought a lot about, taught as a class, put a lot of effort into boiling down. And given how much time we have, and given that our desire is to communicate mostly with you through actually engaging you in an activity that we think embodies the type of mindsets and approaches that Seidel and so many other people have taught us, I'm going to be very brief and just give it to you in 2 words. To us, Creative Hustle is about imagination and action. And we feel like that is an incredibly powerful combination. The imagination is the piece that is us looking at the world, seeing how it is, understanding, analyzing that, and then thinking about all of the different ways that it could be. But if we just do that and we don't kick that into action, right, then we may have lots of good ideas and we may not be doing anything with them. So the kind of chemistry of having those ideas, thinking expansively, seeing what hasn't been done, what could be done, and then applying those and putting them into action, that's something really magic that Seidel and so many other people have taught us, only some of whom we got to feature in this book, but much gratitude to all of the folks who have really taught us what Creative Hustle means. So just to that point, these are just a couple references, resources that speak about a very similar idea. The Bright Continent mentions something called Kanju, which is a very similar notion, and the way that it's talked about on the continent. Jugad in India is a similar term, and in Hip Hop Genius, we talk about it. My co-authors and I talk about it as creative resourcefulness in the face of limited resources. So we're pulling on all of these references and many more with what we're sharing with you. So full transparency, a class, I'm at the D.school right now, and a class is getting out right next to me that I'm worried is noisy. So Tunde, if you don't mind maybe picking up this piece, I know I was going to speak about it, but in the interest of good quality sound, I may fall back for a moment while these students file out.
No, I'm happy to, Sam. Thank you for juggling what you have to share with us. I want to share some of the words from the exact book. It says, we live in a world where so much is determined for us. When and where we are born, who our family is and knows, how much money is in our bank accounts, and how much melanin is in our skin. All of these factors indicate precise paths we are expected to follow. Too often, we silence our creativity and let our hustle calcify. I'm grateful Lauren is not part of that. But too often, we silence our creativity and let our hustle calcify. Sarai is not part of that. Too often we silence our creativity and let our hustle calcify, right? More is not part of that. We trade our potential fulfillment and impact for a facsimile of comfort. Human beings have always used creative problem solving to survive. Let's explore how to let it help us thrive. And this came from, as Sam mentioned, right, hundreds of folks that we've interacted with that we identify as like, these are folks who are matching imagination and action, who are living out creative hustle. And we started with this class where we brought these 3 individuals who we thought really embodied that, and did this 4 or 5 years ago. And I want to show the quick video. Let me see actually if I can share my screen again with sound. All right.
My mom always believed and pushed us to be the greatest and the best. We push ourselves to that. There's something about the discipline and the love. Like when you love what you do, you're always consumed with it. I wouldn't encourage you to pursue the money. I would encourage you to pursue the passion. We all have perspectives that are cool. I'm trying to progress and move people forward.
These creative hustlers, how did they build the mindsets, the skills, and the access they needed to do what they do?
When we have access to hear from some of the world's best creatives, let's open that opportunity for everyone.
Just want to give a quick shout out here. First of all, that video still gets me hyped, so I'm really glad we were able to share that with you all. It was such that class and everything since has been such a beautiful experience, including working with 3 artists, Squint being one of them, who you just saw in the video talking, and while you saw his photographs flashing, he took the photos that are used in this piece you're seeing here. This is a piece out of the book. Just want to shout out him, as well as Jory Titus and Hope Mang, who did beautiful art, hand-carved lettering, illustration. You'll get to see it in the coming slides, and we just want to really shout out and acknowledge at least a third of this book is their work, not ours. So it feels important to shout out their names and celebrate their creative hustle and spirit.
So I want to, Sam already kind of leaked it, that we will have an interactive activity that we're asking all of you to participate in. We want you to learn by doing. And so we're going to ask that all of you, we're going to put on a little bit of music. We're going to ask that all of you grab a sheet of paper and a pen and follow kind of the instructions here, where you're going to fold it. You're going to fold it hamburger style, then fold those 2 halves and halves. You're going to have 4s going down if it's facing landscape. And so if you got, let's do about a minute to get a sheet of paper, knock this out, and it's kind of scrappy, just put your own on there. I want to just share if I can. And I don't know how, in fact, I'm going to stop sharing just to see if it can be bigger on your screen. I have many of these sheets that literally line my office. And you'll see that every time we actually do the activity that I'm participating, because it's scrappy, right? It's something that I can quickly do. I have my big one here that I just got done, my most recent one that I just did, and it captures my latest thinking, my latest gifts, my latest articulation of goals. And so hopefully you'll have some time right now where you can kind of make your own, and we hope you've gotten a sheet of paper where you can participate in this. Sorry about that. I'm sharing the wrong screen.
All right, so we want to acknowledge that we're going to move quick, and the idea here is to give you a flavor. It's almost like just kind of warming up the muscles that you might really use to like really put up some weight when you do this later. Certainly, if you get the book, this is all in there, but we can also share a PDF with just these prompts. We have a nice little guide, just 2-pager. Really hope that this is something that you can find some value in both tonight and beyond. So we're just going to walk you through the sheet, and it's going to be fast. So I want to apologize in advance for that, but also see it as a chance to just start to stretch these muscles. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and just let you all know this first one we've been told is the hardest one to do on the whole sheet. So just putting that out there. Once you do this, you've cleared it, you've gotten over the biggest hurdle, and we'll keep moving. It should be smooth sailing from here. The reason that a lot of people tell us it's hard is because we're asking them to think about what their gifts are, what they have to offer the world. And in many cases, not everyone, but a lot of us have been trained to not think that way, to kind of tamp down some of our gifts. And so one way we've found into this is if for folks who are struggling to think about what their gifts might be, and feel free to start writing as I'm talking if stuff is coming to mind. But we think about like, what do other people tell me I'm good at? What do other people compliment me for? Sometimes that can be a nice way in to exercising this muscle. Certainly, what are you most proud of about yourself? And then the last thing I'll share before shutting up for just a moment to give you all time to think and write some things down is your gifts may not be the things that come easiest to you. And that's a way that it's often talked about. But I know that for many of us, the things that we're best at, the things that really matter that we offer to the world, we actually work really hard to do them because they're important to us. And we don't even know why sometimes, but every morning we wake up and we just feel compelled to go at it again. So using those few prompts, we'll play just a minute or so of music and give you a chance. Write down what you can. And feel free to toss things in the chat after that as well. So if you feel compelled to share even one gift you wrote down, we'd love to see just kind of a waterfall of some gifts show up. Please don't be shy. Tunde got us started sharing some of his. So please pour them in as we start to tee up the next activity. And we don't actually move across left to right on this sheet. We jump all the way to the other end. Think of this as sort of setting ourselves up for some backward planning, right? We need to know where we're trying to head to think about what's going to get us there. So on the other end of the sheet, we're thinking about some of our goals for what we want to see happen in the world. And this is a chance to really to open up, use that imagination, think about outside of the constraints that we might put on ourselves on most days. For these few minutes, what do I really want to move in the world? And we like to encourage folks to aim for a balance of ambitious and possible, right? Something that feels like not simple, you could do it tomorrow by 10 a.m., but not something that you'll live your whole life and not achieve, like something in the middle between those 2 points. So just brainstorm a little bit on that and really try to visualize it. What would success look like for you? I will shut up now. We'll play a little music and let you really think. But I have to give a huge shout out to everyone who's been putting gifts in the chat. It's just, it's inspiring, and you're giving a gift by doing that because other people are going to see something you wrote and they're going to get inspired and think of something about themselves that they hadn't thought of. So thank you for that. And we'll just play a little music and let y'all go in on goals. So Tunde is modeling a bit, sharing one of his goals. If you wrote down a lot of goals, maybe circle one that just feels kind of most exciting in this moment, for whatever reason. It might not be ultimately the biggest one for you, but right now you're feeling a little burn, a little passion around it. That'll help us as we do the rest of the activity. And if you just brainstormed out like a lot of thoughts about one, that's great. You're already in shape to keep moving. So we'll let folks just pop some of those in the chat. Thank you for sharing the inspiring gifts and some reflections on gifts. And Tunde, do you want to take us forward into starting to fill in the middle lanes of the bridge, the lanes of our bridge here?
Absolutely, about 15 minutes, about 5 minutes each of these, and it's going to be hard, right? Because the book is sectioned by gifts to goals, and the bridge that we found after talking to hundreds of these creative hustlers is really that all of them had some weight, some practice, their work was really around these three areas that we've almost identified as bridges, as lanes, right? The first is principles, people, and practice, and the foundation of this principles. People who knows themselves well, and we featured in the book 3 that we really thought were both diverse and really impactful. Aisha Curry, who's an actress, TV personality, entrepreneur. T.C. Ellis, who's overcome a lot of challenge, has a school, took a lot of risks to get signed to Prince as his first rap label, and then somebody who we've already featured, and somebody who's very close to me and inspirational, somebody named Christopher Squint Sandiford, actually grew up in the area, and really through actually a lot of challenge in the Palo Alto school system, had to really figure out who he was early on, and had to really create a strong identity to know who he was first, to be able to move into the enormous creative hustle that he's had, and a career, an outstanding career that he's had as a videographer, storyteller, and film producer. And so one of the things that he's done is, he talks about wearing red every day because his value, his principle is love, and he wants to be guided by that every day. And so if you're shooting Stephen Curry one day, and the next day you're shooting Marshawn Lynch, or you're Grammy winner Lecrae, or whomever you're around, right? To not get wrapped up in that, but to be grounded by the intimacy of love, that by the idea of somebody's really their real, true, authentic personality. He had to remind himself every day to be guided by that value of love. And so he happens to wear red every day. And we talk about in the book, what could you do to remind yourself of your values? But to do that, you have to know them. And so right now, we're going to ask that you fill out the top part of your sheet. My square is big enough. You'll see in there that I have my gifts right there on my left side, my goals on the right side. And that top lane is filled out with principles that are going to help me reach that goal, right? To move in courage, to have good business sense, to think about family as my first ministry. Those are my principles. And right now we're asking you, what are the founding principles in your personal constitution? What are 3 beliefs that you will hold on to in a tough situation? As many of these creative hustlers said, they had to hold tight onto principles in the midst of really tough storms. And what is most important to you? These can act as principles. We'll put a lot of music on, put a little bit of music on, and let you fill that top row out. Oh, wow. Okay. Judge Doris Cordell. So, man, I know I just got really nervous. Hey, Judge Cordell, how you doing? Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I know those principles come off. I would imagine those principles come off very quickly. As many of us know, Judge Doris Cordell is an embodiment of somebody who has been grounded by principle, extremely courageous, to literally change the shape of our justice system and our broader world and society. So honored to be in your circle this afternoon. Thank you for sharing. I think many of you are, well, let's continue to share principles
I'm not sure if everyone saw those, actually. I think they might have just come to us. So I just want to, is it okay if I share them?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we only see those, the hosted panelists. Please, Sam.
I just, they resonate so deeply with me. I just thank you for sharing them, and kindness, courage, and being an upstander for justice. I mean, that, yes, thank you. And man, this group just feels like a group today that we could build with for days, you know, just so much synergy on the goals, the stuff we're trying to move in the world. So it's an honor to be with you all. All right, I'm gonna take us in on the middle lane of the bridge. What's at the center of it is people. There's so much we could say about this. Sarai, you got to meet earlier, which is beautiful. So I will, you know, this just my favorite photograph in the entire book is in her chapter, and she shares so much around vulnerability and how to engage people in your creative hustle. Jidena in the upper corner here, brilliant artist, and again, just powerful story about how you pull together a team, people you want to work with to advance what the creative work you're moving in the world. But I want to dig in a little deeper on Brian Terry. You saw him earlier in the video of the very first class we did. And when Tunde and I first started to conceptualize this, I don't even think we had the term creative hustle yet. Bryant was on the whiteboard. We were like, this is a person that we need to learn from and share with more people, some of his stories and lessons. Brian has been very influential to me throughout my career. And when I was writing my first book, really taught me a bunch of things. He's, I think, got 5 incredible, beautiful cookbooks out. Highly recommend checking them out. And he's now moved into a role of actually publishing other people's work. He has his own imprint for cookbooks called 4 Color Books, and is an artist and just an incredible person. In the book, we focus on this amazing thing he did. He was running a youth organization for some years and was trying to figure out what his next kind of act of his life was going to be. And he decided to invite a bunch of friends, mentors, collaborators into a room for a day and kind of treat them as a board of directors. Instead of for an organization, he was the organization, and they were giving him his strategic direction. And they painted this picture of a public intellectual, an author, an artist. And the amazing thing is, like, everything that they came up with that day has happened. He is done. And so he really, to us, represents this lesson of, like, turning to our people to help us advance our creative hustle. So we want to help you do that now. We're going to share a couple prompts that we find to be helpful. It's about that kind of reciprocity. What do your friends count on you for? What do you learn the most, or who do you learn the most from? And how could you spend more time with them? And what kind of time would you want to spend with them? And then even outside our current circles, like, whose approach to creative work do you admire maybe from afar? Somebody who you know 2 people away, or somebody you look up to that you've just seen speak or read about online or seen, in those kind of contexts. Really thinking about who they are, writing down actual names and the kinds of things that you would want to learn or how you might learn from them. So we're just going to take a minute to think about that. So you can keep your pens moving if you're still working on some ideas. I think somebody was asking where I met Bryant originally. And we met through friends of friends. We were both, we were kind of jockeying for the same space in my friend's house, where it was a great space for writing in the attic. And I was trying to be up there and do some writing, and he was trying to be up there, and we started talking, and the rest is kind of history. But very grateful for his friendship over these years. I also saw a question about the playlist, and just want to shout out Frederick Alexander, who I think everything we've listened to has been Frederick's music so far tonight. If you don't know Frederick personally, or you don't know his music, highly encourage you to check it out on all the streaming platforms. Frederick Alexander. And we can share the specific playlist, but you'll get to a lot of these tracks just through looking him up.
We're on the home stretch, friends. And after we have outlined gifts, and bless all y'all for sharing, and then our goals. And I know in the tens and dozens of folks that are here, that there are some incredible goals. There are some incredible impact that we want to make. And the bridge between those gifts and those goals are grounded by principles and accelerated with these collaborations and these people and this motivation. And then, as Sam mentioned, it's just not imagination. It's just not thinking big. It's just not the creativity. It's the hustle too. It's the action. It's the daily work that's going to make it happen. And that's the practice. And in the book, we outline some incredible folks who have really modeled what practice looks like. Sean Heder, who is the writer, director, multiple Oscar winner, director and writer of Coda. We have Michael Tubbs, one of the youngest mayors of a major city, mayor of Stockton, Stanford graduate, came out two-time documentary, creative him, and now bringing universal basic income across the country. And then, you have these people who are accomplishing amazing, accomplishments in their life, and they're managing calendars and they're managing perspectives, and they have daily rituals. But one of the ones that I think is particularly important, particularly here in Silicon Valley, particularly here for those of us who have incredible goals, is one that we learned from Tessa Aragones, who is a Detroit native, daughter to Filipino immigrants. And she has a powerful book that kind of a powerful chapter that frames our book. It's the last chapter, that don't let productivity kill your creativity. And it talks about practices that make sure that we don't fall victim to the stress that can literally shorten and take our lives, that can literally shorten and take our creativity, that can literally take and shorten our productivity and our impact. And so she has a practice that is really meaningful about starting her day off every day by talking to people who aren't really chalking up their or keeping score of her accomplishments. She's had several. She's, Forbes 30, 40 under 40. She's, several time winner, one of the top 100 marketers in the world. She's president of AKQA right now, North America. She is a really accomplished marketer, professional, and technologist. And at the same time, she starts her day by talking to her mom. And I think that was a very inspirational practice. That's something you could do every single day, something you could ground yourself with that will ensure that you keep your creativity that we want to hold on to so tightly. So to take us home tonight are 3 questions. What is going to be your daily routine to ensure you stay right? What are some practices that you could do to keep you grounded and can keep you connected to your source of creativity? And what rituals can you try to cultivate? I always keep a journal. I always brag to Sam that, here's my daughter's birthday today, and I wrote her a note because every day I write one page every day. Sam mentioned it for morning pages, but he adapted it to say one page, and it's a ritual that he shared. And so it's something that I've adopted. And so for the past year, I've written every day one page. And so it's something that what could be your routine, or what ritual can you adopt? And I really highly recommend that all of you share in the chat things that you would like to share, because these are some of the most inspirational kind of key takeaways that we can share today. So I'll put on some music. We'll finish our sheet with answering some of these questions and any kind of practice. And I want to highlight also, that as we think about practices, that we don't forget why we're here tonight. The youth community service is doing this on a daily basis with youth and with communities and with schools in our area. And that if you can help to make a contribution today, we have some generosity from Barb that we could double down. Think about that. I'll put on some music and we'll complete our forum today. Wow. Thank you all.
Sorry, listen, y'all, you're making this hard on us because we're trying to keep it on time. And then you're writing these brilliant, beautiful, like inspiring things in the chat, and we're getting off on our own schedule. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your practices. I'm inspired to write to my parents by hand. So yeah, this is just incredible. I hope everyone feels the gift of just being together, and more in the team. Thank you for bringing us together. This is an incredible group, and just the practices you're sharing are blowing me away right now. We do want to honor the time, so we just want to leave you with a couple quick thoughts. Consider setting a time on your calendar to finish this activity. We rushed you through it, or maybe a reminder to look back at what you just wrote. We think this could be very powerful to come back to. The next one is to think about where you might put this up. This was a photo one of our students sent us after our very first class several months later. She was at a big transition point in her life, thinking about new career, trying to figure it all out. And she said, I keep this up by my desk in my bed every day. Tunde's showing you his. And then the third reminder here is just to think about when you can really make the next. Do you want to do it on a schedule? Do you want to think about next time you're going through a big transition, and this could be useful? We really hope that it has value for you, and would love to be a part of that journey in any way. So please feel free to reach out to us, creativehustle.org. You can send us an email, and we look forward to continuing to be in community with you. I think in addition to that, Tunde, do you want to close us out with some appreciations and just thanks for the space that we've had together this evening?
I would love to. I mean, I think we started with some gratitude, but I just want to echo the appreciation that we've said throughout, which is that all of you sharing, and I wish we could be together in person and see you all, but the things that you've shared, courageous enough to share, the things that you are writing, the things that you are thinking, the things that you are putting out into the world. I just want to appreciate all of you. Extra grateful to for Maura and the incredible team, the board members, the staff, the supporters of YCS for just allowing us to share our work. I think somebody was asking about the funding. This is something that Sam and I did through the School of Design, the D.school there at Stanford University, and it's something that we just enjoy getting this out. So we have done this to schools, to groups. We're just excited to share this with any and everybody because it's helped our lives, and we every time get inspired. I mean, there's new practices that we're going to walk away with today. There's new visions, there's new values, there's new practice, people ideas, there's new principles. These are all things that we grow. So I just want to thank all of you for being here today, and thank you for allowing us to be a part. And I hope this is a start. You have our information. Please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to stay in touch. Have a great night, everyone. I'll pass it back over. The evening's not done. One last plea, and I'm just giving you something that I practiced, please visit the YCS website. Please consider giving. Please consider supporting the work that is actually making communities and youth and everyone better. Thank you so much. Pass it over to you, Maura.
Thank you so much, Tunde and Sam. Oh my gosh, it's just been so inspirational. We are going to transition to one more part. We have 2 spoken words that our youth have presented, and we have some words from our board chair. Thank you.
Hi, the poem I'm reading today is called Poetry is an Art. The art in English was taken down. It feels empty without it, without the vibrant colors and passions of artists, lovers, creators filling its walls. I want to decorate the walls with poetry, with light and beauty and words that spill out like the sun on a bright afternoon. I want to fill the room with energy and love and heart, with words from those who have come before. I want to let poetry be a light, a solace, an inspiration for those who need it. Thank you. My name is Kara Malash.
We're so grateful to Kara Malash for all of her work, and she beautifully displayed to us how we have all filled a room with energy today. And even though we're on Zoom, the chat has just brought us all so close together, and we do hope to do something in person very soon. And so we want to share with you more information about where you can purchase this book. We invite you to come visit Reach and Teach. They just moved to a new location in San Carlos, and you can get the book online, or you can actually go visit their store, because they have a wonderful store with lots of beautiful gifts, including the Creative Hustle. We will be giving out a signed copy of Creative Hustle to one of our donors from today. So thank you if you've made a donation today. Your name will be in a hat that one of our board members will pick to get, and we will be in touch with you to get you your signed copy of the book. So thank you to everybody. I will now pass on to Bob, and then we will end with a one more spoken word by one of our wonderful peer leaders, Nishi Goyal. So Bob.
Good evening. My name is Bob Miyahara, and I'm the board chair of YCS. I would like to start with a few acknowledgements. An event like this begins months in advance. Thank you, YCS staff and board members, for all the work that you've done to share this amazing program with so many. Just as important, we've had a wonderful collection of sponsors and supporters who've made tonight possible. I want to thank the youth speakers for their eloquent words, and Sarai for being part of the YCS community and showing us firsthand how Creative Hustle makes the world a better place for all. Lastly, thank you, Tunde and Sam, for inspiring us. We live in incredible times. I don't believe there's ever been a time when an individual or even a small group of people have been able to accomplish such incredible feats, whether that be going to the moon, building self-driving cars, making strides in artificial intelligence that can help you do everything from writing an English paper to creating a piece of art based on a few prompts. These are amazing accomplishments, but the question is, to what end? In the midst of such achievement, I'm personally most heartened by the anecdotes of those that raise others up, those that defend the most vulnerable, those that bring about change in a world rife with systemic inequities. There's a reason why the stories featured within Tunde and Sam's Creative Hustle have such resonance. People have power. When you connect to your authentic selves, moored by your personal lived experiences, that becomes a superpower. Our youth are learning that not only will they inherit the earth, but they have the power to change it for the better. But they're not alone in their journey. For over 30 years, YCS, together with a diverse coalition of like-minded organizations and individuals like Sarai, Tunde, and Sam, have provided a platform for our community's youth to find their voice and act on it. As the world has changed, YCS has had to change. Core parts of the YCS mission that included words like connection, leadership, and service have been supplemented with others like empowerment, inclusion, and equity. It's not just the youth that are responsible for that more just, kinder, and brighter future. Borrowing from the words of Creative Hustle, to make beautiful change happen is a collective responsibility. Whether it's a parent encouraging their child, or as a volunteer at a service day, or someone who supports YCS financially, and I cannot stress how important that is, there's much work to be done. Thank you for being part of the YCS journey. We look forward to continue this good work with you. Good evening.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for all your leadership and your support and guidance over all these years. We will now transition to a spoken word by Nishi Goel called Dark Nights.
Nighttime has fallen like a loose curtain. In the serenade of dark, the stars are the choir, diamonds that explode, fulfilling all that you desire. Glistening like sugar spilt over black marble, their darkness is their inky backdrop, making them shine even brighter. As the sky turns velvety black, it hugs you when you are cold and is a comforting cloak when you feel unsafe. A place that lets your heart beat quietly in steady rhythm. It lets your mind relax so that your dreams can take center stage. Nighttime has fallen like a loose curtain.
Thank you so much, Nishi, Kara, and Lauren, for your beautiful words. Our evening together is coming to an end. We welcome any questions in the chat if you would like. We have a few more minutes with our guests. Otherwise, we would love for you to stay a while. We have some information that we have in a few slides that we will share as people begin to transition. But I do wanted to thank so much Sam and Tunde for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your beautiful book with us. Sarai is off to a beautiful concert tonight, so we hope she's having fun, and we thank her for taking the time to be with us. Thank you to each of you. I know people have lots of places to be, and we appreciate the time that you've taken to be with YCS this evening. We are recording this. We will share a recording. We hope you'll share it with your friends and community. We're so grateful that Tunde and Sam are in our neighborhood. And we hope that very soon we can have another event with them and we can be in person with each other. So on that note, I will thank Katie, who has been working the back end and making all of this possible. So thank you, Katie Roof, who is a senior at Gunn High School. And thank you to our interpreters for your help with interpretation in Spanish today. A huge thank you to Barbara for her matching grant tonight, and for everyone who's made a contribution and supported YCS. On that note, Katie, take it away with the loop. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Good night.